Deus, o salutaris nostre, Domine ex Deus, Deus, ex Deus, Deus noster, Domine ex Deus, Angeli,
How's everybody doing? I've been having a fantastic day. It is Thursday, June 12th. I wasn't sure whether this was going to work or not. I thought actually that this was going to be a massive failure. I thought that StreamYard was not going to work. I thought I wasn't going to be able to stream tonight, and I was super happy about that. I did not want to stream tonight. Just got back from vacation. I've been gone since last Wednesday. Had a long day of traveling yesterday. I kind of wanted to not stream tonight, but here I am. I'm here for a Q&A. Don't want to stream. I got sunburn. It was an awesome time, but I got sunburn. Had a lot of fun. The sunburn on my shoulders is just causing pain. Massive pain. I don't wear sunscreen. I think sunscreen is awful. I will never wear sunscreen. I'd rather get skin cancer. But yeah, I am back. I am back in streaming in normal schedules, unfortunately. But I'm here for the Q&A. While I was gone, I stayed off keeping up to date on a lot of the news, some news checking here and there. I stayed off Twitter. I stayed off Discord. I went completely away. And while I'm gone, Unius Initiative drops a 9.5-hour compilation. I didn't know about this. He didn't tell me about this. He asked me to record something last week. And then all of a sudden, while I'm gone, he just randomly drops this massive 9.5-hour compilation. It's blown up, over 100,000 views on it. It's done very, very well. So who knows? Maybe in the future, I just have this massive reserve of video, audio streaming. Maybe one day I will just disappear. I will use AI voice stuff to make all of these like filler clips and just put out there like 10-hour documentaries once a month that get 100,000 views. Maybe in the future, that's what I'll do. You'll never hear from me again. For all you guys know, I'm dead. I'll never stream again. I wish so, but unfortunately, I must keep streaming. Got to keep everyone up to date. Actually, do I really need to keep you guys up to date? I mean, it's theology. Theology is not really something I can keep you guys. It's not like I'm doing a news show or anything like that. I guess to keep speaking on those topics of interest that come up in conversations throughout the internet. But anyways, tonight's a Q&A. I try to get through all the questions. I'm going to be here for about an hour. I'm going to get through all of them. If I can't answer your question, I'm sorry. I just can't answer your question, but I will try to let you have another question. But anyways, let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm working through Stone Choir's series on the Septuagint, but don't want to be led astray by Lutherans. Can you recommend an in-depth history of the Old Testament from the Catholic perspective? I'm not really an Old Testament guy, but if you read obviously I am an Old Testament guy, but I mean by that, my studies aren't really in the Old Testament. But if you go to the STS, if you don't know what the STS is, it's the Sacrae Theologiae Summa. I recommend when you want to do like secondary source research, it's really good for beginning to do secondary source research. And you go to the volume, which is called 1B. So it's in English. So if you look up Sacrae Theologiae Summa 1B, it should be on the Church of Christ, on Holy Scripture. And in there, if you look at the table of contents, there should be a section on the Septuagint, and it will go over some of the positions that the fathers espoused on the Septuagint, some of the recent magisterial proclamations on the Septuagint up until like the 1950s. But really, if you are somebody interested in scriptural studies, it's kind of an advantage to have something from the 1950s rather than from of recent, because of recent it is extremely difficult to find people who are very orthodox on scriptural studies, and who are also providing quality stuff. Usually you get one or the other. You're either getting some sort of quality of research, or you're getting orthodoxy. A lot of times there's orthodox stuff, but it's not really well researched. And on the other hand, there's a lot of heretical stuff, but it is well researched. So, but you have to oftentimes go back to the older stuff if you want a good synthesis of both of these. Joined on Subscribestar because I didn't know you didn't upload anything there anymore. How do I access? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought I shut down my Subscribestar. Yeah, I will put down a note to like refund you of everything, and then yeah, I don't post anything anymore because it was like really stupid. It's just an awful platform on the creator side of things. So I gave up and like kind of shut it down. But I didn't know that you could still actually subscribe to it. So I will message my wife to do that right now for you. Okay, I will not forget that, I promise. But thank you for letting me know. I didn't see the 103K. Wonder how many got to the end. I don't know. I would have to check. I picked up Practical Meditations per your recommendation. I can confirm it's based. Yes, it's in my living room right now, but I don't have it on my desk. No, I do not want to join the diaconate. I don't want to be a cleric. Okay. Is Christ's acquired knowledge discursive after the resurrection? Yes. Yes, it is. It's discursive. It's discursive because when it comes to divine knowledge, so when it comes to divine knowledge of God, it is of a it contains all of the perfections of discursion because it's of a different order. So it's of a higher order. So discursion for us is going from premise to conclusion, premise to conclusion. God knows the premise and the conclusion and the act of reasoning in one simple act. But when it comes to human intellects, it's part of their perfection, of their order, to know things by discursion, to know effects and their causes and their effects, and also premises and their conclusions, etc. So Christ, he knows things through discursion, not from any sort of poverty or any weakness or imperfection, but because it's a perfection of the order of knowledge, if you understand what I'm saying. For the Beach Umbrella Fund, no, I'm not doing that. Love the documentary from UI. How do Occam and Scotus differ in their shared tendency towards voluntarism? Haven't read Occam directly on this, and I'm very, very. I mean, I could give you like, but I'm sure you've heard this before. I could give you the general, sort of contemporary account of how most people think the medievals go, and the how do I put the general. What is the word that I'm thinking of? The sort of general mythos of the medievals. You have like the stupid, you have Occam and he ruined everything, and you have all the nominalists, they ruined everything, and then you have the voluntarists, they ruined everything. Like and they led to the Protestant Reformation. But I could give you all of these things. I could go down that manner of explanation, which is just kind of the contemporary meme version of looking at things. But because so many of these narratives, that's what I'm looking for. So many of these narratives are bound up in a lack of appreciation for reading of primary sources, lack of careful study of primary sources. So I'm not discounting that it's possible that this narrative is completely correct. I'm very suspicious. So it doesn't feel very responsible of me to just give you a narrative that other people said without actually reading the very extensive loci within Occam's commentary on the sentences where he discusses these things. So I'm sorry if that's a frustrating answer to your question, but what I want to emphasize for you and for everybody out there through that sort of answer is to say that I've run into so many of these narratives about different individuals, different scholastics, different theologians, different eras of theology, church fathers, whatever. I've run into so many of these narratives. These narratives even become popular in academia, but these narratives aren't even based on a proper reading of secondary sources or even any sort of reading of secondary sources at all. It reminds me a bit of a lot of the narrative, and this is going to be I think a good analogy, but a narrative about ahistorical scholasticism. You have the era of the post-conciliar church, which is dominated by the Nouvelle Theologie, and these are apparently very historical. And then before them, you have ahistorical scholasticism, which is stuck in a way in which there's not an adequate consideration of history. Okay, so you have these two eras. You can actually look at manuals from like the anywhere from the early 1900s. Actually, you can even go further than that. But I've seen it particularly these critiques brought forward by actual manualists from 1900 to 1950. I can think of like Pesch on the top of my head. The SDS is a section. But I've run into these sorts of critiques back then of their contemporaries for not adequately understanding history. So what's going on there? Are they actually right? Is manualism as a whole somehow, or scholasticism before the Second Vatican Council, somehow against history? Or what's going on there? You have contemporaries saying this, so must it be true? Well, really what you see is the problem with forming this sort of grand, like meta-narrative about a certain era or a certain movement is that it's impossible to verify. I can find you a bunch of scholastics from 1950 who are very well read in the history of the church. I can find you some from that era who are very badly considering the history of the church. I can do the same for the year 1900. I can do the same for the year 1200 if I wanted to. I can do the same for almost any era. Find a bunch of guys who are really bad and really ahistorical or really rationalistic or really not considering properly the spiritual life or whoever, and I could do the opposite. I can find people who follow the opposite trend. Well, the problem with this, and the problem with drawing forth the conclusion, not only the diversity that exists in those eras, but also I can point to the year 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, today. I can point to those years, and I can find you a number of theologians who are very historical in their analysis, and a number of theologians are very ahistorical in their analysis. So I think it's stupid, it's simplistic, it is completely uncharitable, and I think it's completely unhelpful and prejudicial to treat eras of theology in such broad strokes and different groups of theologians in such broad strokes as to, not saying that you're doing this, but just kind of this type of attachment to like a narrative that often leads to certain judgments of like the voluntarists did this or affected this or whatever you may have. How does one determine a consensus of theologians on a particular issue of moral theology? It would be the same as in dogmatic theology, because if you talk about like matters of faith and morals, faith and morals only materially distinguish theology. They don't formally distinguish theology. So the only differences in De Locis between dogmatic part of theology and moral part of theology, if you want to put it like in those terms, I don't really like doing that, but if you want to put it in those terms, the only difference between these two are only going to be material, not formal. So like you might look in different areas, like for example, if I were to try to read about Christology, for example, I would go to the different types of books than I would be if I were trying to find consensus on 6th and 9th commandment issues, or consensuses. That would be the plural. I don't know why I said consensus. I'm going to make up that word. That sounds better. Consensus sounds kind of weird. I don't like that word. I'm just going to start using the other one. Did you get the Divine Intimacy book that Sap recommended? I got it. It's very basic. Yes, I did buy it. And actually, I was using it when I was away on my vacation for the Pentecost meditation. It's very good. It's very good. It's very, how do I put it? It's very didactic. And I was reading the introduction. It's actually meant to be very didactic. It's meant to, in a sort of year cycle, going through the liturgical year, it's not only meant to provide individual meditations that are very helpful for each holiday, each feast day, each part of the year or whatever. It's not just meant to provide those sort of reflections. It's actually cumulative. So what I mean by that is it actually goes through a cycle of all of the issues in theology that would need to be covered. So well, spiritual direction, I guess you could say, or spiritual sort of spiritual direction that would need to be covered. So it goes over, the nature of sin, virtues and vices, gifts of the Holy Ghost. It goes over all of the different things that you need to go over in this regard. Is quotes okay? Yeah, I think that's cringe. Do Eastern Orthodox actually believe the hypostatic property of the Father is being the cause of the Son and the Spirit? Or is this an online Eastern Orthodox apologist position? No, this is actually a traditional critique that they will bring forward. So you can, for example, just read Photius's Mystagogy, and Photius will actually bring forward this as an argument. This isn't just like an internet meme. This is an actual position that gets brought forward by traditional Orthodox theologians. I saw a Dyer video where he claimed the Catholics defy the Seventh Council with our iconography, like depicting the Father having lewd images. Thoughts? Well, on the having lewd images, I don't know about the. I haven't read much about the depicting the Father thing. I know that Catholics actually have mixed opinions on this. For example, Hassan is not a huge fan of depicting the Father, whereas Astro, on the other hand, is in support of depicting the Father. But I've just kind of let them fight it out. So I haven't really done a whole bunch of research in depicting the Father. But the having lewd images things, wait until you read the Council of Trent, what the Council of Trent says about art. Just read what the Council of Trent says about art. The Council of Trent actually has a decree on art and the reform of art, and you can read what they say about lewd images, and then consider how Catholics think about this, not simply from the sort of lay or local praxis, but actually think about what the disciplinary decrees of the church have been. Would you be open to debating Jay Dyer or Brother Diamond? I just have a issue with debating in general. I mean, I've had 2 debates, and people said that I did really well, and a lot of people, even from the other side, especially on the second one, said that I did really well. But I just don't really like debating. I just don't think it's an ideal circumstance. A few weeks ago, no, this was a few months ago, Jay Dyer was wanting to debate me on something on a video that I had made, and he's like, "Oh, come and debate me." And Jay and I, we don't generally have big problems with each other. We're not mutually blocked or anything like that. But I just told him, I'm like, look, if you don't like something that I said, I laid something carefully out. Just make a video against it. Like you don't need to have a live debate in order to respond to something that I said. Just make a video on it. Edit a video. And if I think it's a good response and there's salient points that I need to refute in what you said, then I'll make a video responding to your video. And people can just watch each one of the videos. I think that ends up being because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'll do a written debate against you." I remember that was the big thing with Michael Lofton, like, "Oh, I'll do a written debate. I'll do like a back and forth," and that's just not the medium in which a lot of our audiences are going to interact with it. Like, if I write an article and it gets 2,000 views, like that's a good article for me. But I mean, if I make a video and it gets 2,000 views, that's like a bad video, or like this Q&A or something like that, just kind of a low effort video, something like that would get 2,000 views. So it's obvious that our audience is somewhat attached to the visual auditory medium. So this, I think, gets kind of the best of both worlds. On the one hand, it engages our audiences in the way in which they normally get engaged. On the other hand, it, I think, leads to a lot more reflection and careful thought and presentation. So I actually like the sort of response video back and forth thing much better than a debate. I think I'm a bad debater. I think I'm an awful debater. I have no problem with saying that. I don't think I'm quick on my feet enough to be a good debater. So yeah, maybe, but in certain circumstances, maybe, but probably not. It's probably not something I would do. I'm not a huge fan of debating because of how bad I am. I see Catholics justify weed use. Can you debunk? Um, I, I mean, uh, can somebody smoke? That's like if somebody said, could you defend like crack cocaine use? Or no, can you defend meth use? And I'm like, okay, well, I guess like kind of technically, like Adderall is a type of meth, and it could be like used medicinally in very unique contexts. But it's just like, no, no. I mean, just as a general rule, outside of very particular exceptions, just like no. It's a very strange question to be asked because of it's just like smoking weed is just going to be something which removes the proper order of one's faculties, the ability to practically reason. It's just outside of very grave necessity, one cannot justify this sort of disorder of the mind and intoxication. So, um, I haven't read like all the contemporary ecclesiastical documents on marijuana, but I know that they do condemn its use. But yeah, that's your answer. Also brought practical meditations. Thank you for the recommendation. You're welcome. Appreciate it. Give us your best Trump impression. Now, Thomistically speaking, what is the best video game? Call of Duty Black Ops 2. How's your CV axle doing? It's doing very well. I did a good job with fixing my CV axle. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Okay, they rely on the medical element like joint pain. Well, it's not enough. I mean, one can cure their anxiety with like shooting up black tar heroin. Like I'm sure it helps you with your joint pain, but there's no grave necessity to smoking weed to help your joint pain. And I'm pretty sure most of the people who are it's just like on a practical issue, it's like most of the people who are doing this just do it because they like doing it. It's just kind of like joint pain healing is a secondary benefit. Uh, when will you when will you continue the review of Albrecht versus Sijuwade? Um, Maybe Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to continue it though. What if it doesn't impair my reason? Are you, if it doesn't impair your reason? I mean, that's basically just like microdosing some sort of drug. I mean that would kind of be like me asking, "Am I allowed to walk past, a car and get a contact high when somebody is smoking inside of the car?" It's like it's not really within the province of what we're talking about, but it's really gay as well. It's really gay as well. Just to clarify that point, it's extremely gay. Okay, stop repeating. Stop repeating. Okay, person deaf S2 293 A4 God is rational W Boethius. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. Okay, stop. Oh my, that's the fourth time I've seen. I'm banning you. You asked the same question like 5 times. No spamming. Do things that warrant execution in the old covenant still apply today? For example, witchcraft. Um, I mean, the things which are distinctly and directly commanded by God in the judicial law of the Old Testament, like these things can't be intrinsically immoral, but there's no unique obligation for nations outside of Israel due to the variety of circumstances to have the same exact laws as Israel had. So, but I mean, apply today as in like, does every nation need to execute witches, warlocks? No, apply today in the sense that this is something which is abstracted from its circumstances, uh, per se not unlawful. Then sure. Were there medieval schoolmen who made a distinction between sacraments of Christ and sacraments of the church? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised because the various different medieval scholastics did make pedagogical distinctions amongst the sacraments. But I don't know. To be perfectly honest, all I know is that it was the consensus of the schoolmen that all seven sacraments gave sanctifying grace. So that's enough for it to be a sacrament. Or I mean, if you want to talk about sacraments of the church, insofar as they were established not dominically, but perhaps later, then sure, yeah, there were quite a few medieval schoolmen who got this question wrong and thought that the sacraments were not instituted personally by our Lord, but later. So that's what you mean, yes. Um, can you debunk those who say we shouldn't give latria to the cross? I mean, you need to, in order, this is one of those questions that's kind of like a stupid war on words question. I mean, I could debunk them by pointing to the liturgy of the veneration of the cross and saying, read this. I mean, that's easy enough. The liturgy is a proper locus of theology, and people could be debunked by authority just by the authority of the liturgy. But the reason it's a stupid war on words is that when it comes to these sorts of things, um, latria can either be given absolutely or relatively. Absolutely means the thing considered in itself. Relatively, it's the thing considered in relation to something else. So when we say we give latria to the cross, we mean it insofar as it's an instrument of redemption and somehow is related to Christ, not the thing in itself. So it's the act. The act terminates in Christ. So it's not like we say that we give latria to the Holy Trinity in the same way that we say that we give latria to the cross. Um, how do I get my questions right? Oops. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see all the distinctions on this side. I really need to remove that, don't I? Apologies. Um, what is the Catholic response to the Reformed objection that the Eucharist can't be the body of Christ since it can't be the thing it signifies? Who said? I mean, who said that you can't have something be both be the sign and the thing signified under different aspects? That's just I would just deny that. How should we understand St. Anselm and Richard of St. Victor, quote, proving the Trinity from reason? To be honest, I think St. Anselm is less clear, but Richard of St. Victor definitely was wrong on this point. I think it's almost impossible to read Richard of St. Victor as not erring on this point, thinking that we could provide necessary reasons for all the things of the faith. So yeah, I think that Saint Richard of St. Victor was wrong. St. Anselm, if you wanted to read him piously, because I think he's less clear about this from my reading, you could say that he was simply trying to give probable reasons. And these probable reasons were dependent upon the antecedent revelation of the tree. So like basically fittingness reasons, just like we would give various different fittingness reasons for the incarnation, for example. how would you defend something like St. Alphonsus's glories of Mary against Protestants? I mean, you have to realize that St. Alphonsus is writing within a broader devotional tradition. So the broader devotional tradition uses certain terms in certain ways, which are meant to signify very concrete and certain things. So if you look at the devotional tradition, you can get a famous example is that the hands of the child Jesus created the universe. The hands of the child Jesus created the universe. This obviously cannot be taken in its proper sense. It cannot be simply taken because the hands of the child Jesus, the Blessed Trinity did not create the universe in virtue of the humanity of particularly the young Jesus. Like, that is absurd. But if taken for the sort of concrete and human as being taken as revealing and as subsisting by the subsistence of the eternal word, and you're taking it in that sense, a sort of distinct sense, then sure, you could possibly interpret this in a sound sense, which is what all of the theologians do when they are disputing this question. St. Thomas famously has a few places where he actually specifically talks about this verse. So when it comes to St. Alphonsus, you just have to read him within the devotional tradition of the church. When you look at the Mariologists of the era and of contemporary times, and you read the authoritative sources of Mariology, for example, when St. Alphonsus refers to the Blessed Virgin as omnipotent, St. Alphonsus is writing within a certain devotional tradition. You read the Mariologists of his day, you read the Mariologists of before, you read the Mariologists of today, you read the dogmatic theologians who are writing on De Deo Uno of the time, of before, and of today, you see that they obviously do not somehow infer any sort of the essentially divine properties to the Blessed Virgin Mary. This is meant to be a sort of devotional form, which is in reference to the efficacy of her prayers with God. So, I mean, you really, in order to defend St. Alphonsus, you have to contextualize him. And if you're not going to contextualize him by reading him within the devotional tradition, one, that's completely uncharitable. Two, it's kind of stupid. And three, it just makes him completely contradictory within himself. So, I mean, that's generally what I would say about this. What is this question? How do we combat those who say natural theology led to natural rights and precept is better? What is this? Do you not think people have natural rights? Well, if you don't think people have natural rights, I'm just joking. I'm not going to do anything to you. But do you not think people have natural rights? Oy vey. Okay, I've been trying to answer more. I mean, the issue is I'm not purposefully. This is so I need to explain this to you guys every time I do a Q&A because every time people get mad. But I don't know how difficult you guys know it is to have a chat right there, to be answering questions, to trying to eliminate as much dead air as possible, and to do all of this at once. I can't sit here, answer questions, categorize, go through the chat. So really what I do is, I try to scroll through as much as I can and answer. I mean, I'm back at 7 minutes ago right now to when you're hearing this, but I really need to get somebody who can be like a producer of some sort and stick in the backstage and highlight and star questions that are good for me. Because really what I have to do is I kind of have to get through all of the super chatted questions and then kind of scroll. And it's not the most effective form, but really what else do you expect? This is just, I'm just trying my best. Okay. It's not me just refusing to answer non-money questions. Is it sinful to pirate a brief refutation of middle knowledge by Charles René Billowart and published by Christian B. Wagner? Oh, you mean, is it sinful to get this book on piracy rather than buying it on Amazon.com after typing in a brief refutation of middle knowledge? And is that bad? Is that bad? I don't know. Oh, I just realized why it looks so weird in here. I have it mirrored backwards. Let me change my camera settings right now. Yes, that's normal. This is normal now. Okay. Oh my goodness. It was driving me crazy. I had no idea. I had no idea what was going wrong. I thought maybe it's, I look tan. I thought maybe it's because I got a tan and that's why it just looks so strange. But yeah, that was driving me crazy. I'm so glad I put A Brief Refutation of Middle Knowledge by Charles Rene Billowart in front of the camera, in front of you guys, or I never would have caught this. What does Calvinism get wrong about the love of God? I'm gonna do tomorrow night probably a review stream of the Joe Heschmeyer video and give my thoughts on it, on Calvinism. Uh, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I will answer this later. Um, Thoughts on Samuel Rutherford, peace be upon him, and his prophecy? I don't know. Um, do you have set places where you get a lot of books? Yeah, Anna's Archive. I steal all of them. I don't know if you remember me asking for prayers for my granddad's cancer scare last month, but the mass in his lungs disappeared before the biopsy. Thank you for praying. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Remember, sing the Te Deum, a prayer request which is answered. The 10 lepers got healed. Only one of them went back and thanked God. So do not forget this. Are men by themselves only capable of resisting sufficient grace, so they're unable to not resist? No, of course not. Of course not. There are plenty of people who do not resist sufficient graces. Like there are plenty of. I mean, how else do you have people who, in a natural state, are struck in such a way by, let's say, they think about death or something like that, and they pray to God to have mercy on them, and then God grants them the efficacious graces to convert. Like how? No, this is a complete misunderstanding propagated by the falsehoods of the Molinists, that we think that men are unable to not resist sufficient graces. Like this is a complete misunderstanding of the Thomistic teaching on sufficient graces. Boethius' definition of person is sufficient. Prima pars, question 29, article 3, ad 4. God's nature can be called rational. No separate definition is formally necessary. I've already told you. I'm pretty sure I specifically told you on this one already. I already told you. When you read you can look, like, highlight, you can look on Aquinas.cc, highlight the definition of Boethius in Latin, and then put it into the Latin section. Read all of the sections, De Potentia, Summa Contra Gentiles, I think probably De Veritate, Summa. Read all of the sections where he brings up Boethius' definition, and you see that he clarifies that with each one of these little terms, it's supposed to be taken in a particular sense. So yes, it's sufficient if it is read in this way. But if you're going to take it strictly and in accordance with the sense of among creatures, like, no, it's not going to be, or else you're going to come into some very difficult problems. Stop rage baiting me right now. Stop rage baiting me. Protestant Catholic justification debates. Does faith imply faithfulness, not just a belief? And I justify ontological transformation rather than being declared. Are Prots mistranslating words? Okay, so really, when you read the New Testament, faith can be taken in a number of different senses. I mean, this is also evident from the way in which we use this in English. But I would say, generally speaking, that faith does actually imply some sort of act of the intellect, which believes things on the sake of God revealing. But this is something of a metonym. So as a metonym, it's going to name a certain part for the whole. So there's going to be other virtues which are somehow attached to faith, such as charity. Like it doesn't imply a faith which is separated from charity, but includes it as its most noble part. Like, for example, when in the book of Acts, Saint Stephen says that 72 souls went down to Egypt, or went down from Egypt. No, it would have been two. 72 souls went down to Egypt. Obviously, their souls weren't just like floating. Not that souls can float, but their souls weren't just like floating, bloop, 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 out through the ether down to Egypt. It was their whole persons, but they were naming the person by their most noble part. And then for, it's really annoying me that you're putting this in the first person singular, but for I justify, or for justification, I think it's pretty clear when you're reading sacred scripture that it can be used in multiple senses. So in certain parts, it is going to take the sense of a legal declaration or some sort of remission, especially in the Old Testament, or especially amongst judges and sort of like human man-to-man relationships. But I think when you read it specifically talking about the doctrine of justification, like we normally talk about it, I think it's very clear that this is talking about some sort of motion from injustice to justice, which I think could be very clearly seen from Ephesians 2. So if you read Ephesians 2 and you read, what we're being delivered from, what we're being delivered to, I think it's clear this is talking about you're being delivered from a sort of disorder, walking after the flesh, et cetera, et cetera. And then justification happens by grace, and now you are transformed and removed from these old ways. It wouldn't make sense in context to me for this to simply be talking about some sort of forgiveness or remission, or some sort of consideration of justice that's not one's own. Well, of course he believes the thing. Okay, of course he believes the things that he's saying, but he believes them in accordance with the mode of speaking. Like, I think if you specifically talk about, read the introduction, St. Alphonsus clarifies exactly the way in which he uses devotional images and terminology, if I'm remembering correctly. Can you answer all of my really stupid questions? No, that's the that's the only question I'm answering. Yeah, get trolled. Tips for retaining what you read in theology. Personally, I feel like I've done a bad job retaining all the information I've read. Well, the real red pill is you just have to read the same thing like 20 times, then eventually you'll remember it. Because I forget. If I read something 15 times, if I read something 20 times, if I read something 50 times, I forget it. I have to read it 100 times to remember it. Thoughts on priests using AI to assist with their homilies? I mean, you can use AI for research, but or like writing or grammar or things, or order or things like that. But you should probably not, just AI a homily. But I'm sure you could use certain parts of it. See, this is what happens when I. This is what happens when I read through all of the questions. I'm I'm like 10 minutes behind now. I'm getting even further behind. So I will answer your questions more quickly. How could there be obsequium religiosum to non-infallible teachings? Would we not be bound to assent to error if the teaching were false? No, because obsequium religiosum does not unconditionally imply falsehood. Like one can consider. I mean, one can still give obsequium religiosum and then also withhold assent. Christian, is it a sin to resell your translation? Maybe. You should try to interview Larry Chapp. No, that guy's Cole. Oh my goodness. These are some cool questions. What do you think about Catholics who say the new mass? See, this is the type of questions I would be getting if I would be looking through all of them. I'm sorry to troll you, Tea Time. I'm sure you're very nice. 1854, that's a W year. I like 1854. But what do you think about Catholics who say the new mass isn't any good, e.g. valid and only trad mass? What do you think I think about them? What do you think I think about them? You think I'm like, oh, I like these guys. I think they're very cool. I think there's some very good, the Donald Trump thing. I think there's some very nice guys. What do you think I'm going to say about? What do you think I'm going to say about people who say that the Novus Ordo is not valid? Okay, how does efficacious grace differ from sufficient grace that is not resisted? Okay, well, efficacious grace is going to be of a different mode or manner and of a different order. So efficacious graces follow from the consequent will, and efficacious graces are going to be sufficient for perfect acts of justification, perfect acts of justice. So basically, all this means is that what flows from an act of efficacious grace is going to be acts which are properly meritorious for eternal life and are going to tend towards, in their very act, the end of justification, right? Whereas a sufficient grace provides not the act of justification itself, but certain preparations, right? And these preparations are remote, and they don't congruously merit justification, but only they don't condignely merit justification, but only congruously merit in a broad sense, according to the terminology of some justification. So it's very different. It goes down to a whole system of considering the antecedent and the consequent will, the way in which we have promotions which are resistible and irresistible, down to the different types of what are called predefinitions. It's a bit of a complicated topic, but it's a very coherent topic, and everything fits in quite well, and it makes a lot of sense. Not only of that, but also makes a lot of sense into the ways in which we experience conversion and justification, the way in which we see it in others, and the way in which we see it described in sacred scripture. Do you know good sources for researching? I also would like to find some good sources for sacraments apologetics. You can read Emmanuel Duranzo on the sacraments. Really, if you want like good resources for researching and you only know English, like it's going to be pretty difficult. You can like read the Catholic Encyclopedia article on the sacraments. And then you could read like the STS sections and try to find to see if there's anything footnoted that's in English. There's not really like a bunch of, like S tier sort of stuff in English. Like there's good, okay, decent stuff, but I mean, not anything that's going to just like blow your mind away and just be the best thing you've ever read and be able to, defeat all of your enemies sort of things. Competence in Latin is going to be necessary. So if you read Duranzo, like the reason I said Duranzo is if you Duranzo on the sacraments, you basically have everything you need. I mean, it's so extensive and it's so comprehensive on every single issue that if you read it, you're just going to have everything you need to defend whatever thesis you're trying to defend on the sacraments. But if you're, reading in English, it's going to be very scattershot. Certain things may not be treated in English. There just might not be detailed resources. They might treat the issue, but it might be very cursory, et cetera, et cetera. But that's my best recommendation. Oh no, I'm 8 minutes. Why couldn't Romans 4:5 be a metonym? What do you mean? Their faith is imputed as justice? Are you saying that? Do I think that the word faith there is a metonym? Well, I know if I'm remembering correctly, St. Thomas actually doesn't interpret this as a metonym because it says that faith is imputed as justice. So he interprets this, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, in its sort of proper sense, not as a metonym. But if you're asking about like my particular exegesis of that verse, I would need to read through all the text where St. Thomas treats it, obviously where St. Augustine treats it, some of the other fathers treated like modern exegetes. I would need to look into that a lot more, how I think that the word faith is being used there. My RE director asked me to teach one OCIA class next session. I can pick anything for the sessions. Could you make a suggestion for a topic that perhaps gets overlooked frequently in catechesis? Mental prayer, mental prayer, mental prayer, mental prayer, mental prayer. Okay, mental prayer. That's the topic that gets overlooked. I missed your question. Okay. Mariology is poorly done in most catechesis, and deification / theosis is almost never covered. They probably cover it when they cover sanctifying grace. Alex at work. Alex no watch Wagner stream. Alex at Alex make money. Alex. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. I will. Okay, you asked about the Joe Heschmeyer thing. I said earlier that I'll cover it some other time. Tomorrow, probably. Yes, that's why I like it. Okay, I'm trying to look through these questions. You guys forced me. You guys are forcing me to read through the entire chat. Oh my goodness. I'm not joining any. I'm not joining any. Lutherans on justification specifically, biggest internal inconsistencies and problem, question mark, baptismal generations plus forensic justification, question mark. Are you asking whether that is, whether baptismal regeneration and forensic justification is inconsistent for them? I don't know why that would be necessarily inconsistent for them to hold both of those ideas. Because if you want to kind of like simplify it a lot, like regeneration as some sort of transformation and justification as some sort of declaration of justice. If you want to like put it like that, why wouldn't they be able to say that babies are given faith by baptism, and this faith that they are given is that instrument for the apprehension of Christ's justice. Now, I think it's a bit silly. I think it's very silly to say that babies have the act of the virtue of faith, but obviously we think that in baptism the virtue of faith is given. I don't see how you're drawing forth the contradiction between these two. What are species in general really? Do they even exist? If they only exist in the mind, then in what sense are they real? Species and genus, these are second intentions. So they formally exist in the intellect. Like you can't go out there and touch and pick up a species or go out there and touch and pick up a genus. These formally exist in the intellect, but these are the ordering of real natures, things that actually exist out there in reality. So they fundamentally or in their foundation exist in reality, but they only formally exist in the mind. It's funny that you say mental prayer, as that was my plan. I have the book you edited on mental prayer and was planning to use your article. You're awesome. Welcome back. Thank you. Okay. Do I need to read Aristotle in order to understand St. Thomas Aquinas better? No, you don't need to. You'll probably just be very confused and bored if you read him. Aristotle's very boring. If you read Aristotle, your mind will be numbed. I mean, I do it a lot because I think it's important for me to read primary sources as somebody who does this a little bit more formally, a little bit more on an intensive or academic level. But if you have a normal person who just kind of wants to read St. Thomas and they want some sort of overview of philosophy, like they don't need to read Aristotle. It's a waste of time. They're going to be confused. It's going to take way too much time for them to they could have just read some sort of manual of philosophy and got it through in like 1/10 of the time, and they'll understand more. And anybody who tells you that you got to read like all of Aristotle before you read St. Thomas, one, they're a liar. They haven't read all of Aristotle. There's actually there's one of my volumes of Aristotle. I used to keep it on my desk, but now it's there on my shelf. That is 1 out of 2 volumes, so it's twice that length to read all of his works. You're just not. It's not an efficacious way of doing it. That's all that I'll put. Even the medievals would make Summe of philosophy, so beginner students didn't have to start with reading Aristotle. Are any continuous website better than Arch? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Don't play video games? No. So what's their largest contradiction then? Lutherans? Like, what do you mean, what is their largest contradiction? Like, what is the biggest inconsistency they have between two beliefs? I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it, like what the biggest contradiction between two beliefs is going to be for specifically Lutheran theology. I mean, I think their distinction between the law and gospel is really whack, but I don't know. Aristotle's not boring. Aristotle's not boring. Yes, he is. Stop crying about it. He's boring. He's super boring. Aristotle is great. Aristotle is awesome. Aristotle's so cool. Yeah, LARPer, LARPer, LARPer. You're all LARPers. Stop LARPing. Boring. Boring. Yeah, go out there. Go out there. Actually, for all of you saying Aristotle is awesome, please get on a VC with me and comment and read through all of posterior analytics. Like do it. Just do it. Just like explain it all to me. To my satisfaction, I will be asking questions because Aristotle's so awesome. No, you guys are all LARPers. Everyone out there, because I'm kind of tired of this, because I see a lot of people who are like, oh, I can't read St. Thomas because everyone was telling me I need to read Aristotle first. And I started trying to read Aristotle and he was super confusing. Like, you LARPers need to stop telling people that they need to read Aristotle before they read St. Thomas. That's dumb advice. It's stupid advice. It's a waste of time. It's awful. It just gatekeeps St. Thomas. And I think everyone should read St. Thomas. St. Thomas is a theologian not only for the wise and the educated. St. Thomas is a theologian for the simple, who just kind of needs like a little overview of basic things before they go off and start reading some of his works. So I'm tired of all of this nonsense that you have to read through a bunch of different works that St. Thomas himself didn't even have access to, because there were most of Aristotle's corpus was not readily available in the Latin West. I mean, if you're reading Grenier, if you're reading all of Grenier, then you should read Aristotle, because if you can read all of Grenier, then you can probably read through Aristotle with profit. Okay, best manual in philosophy. I have a few that I like to recommend. If I had one to recommend, it'd probably be Gardale. Gardet. And is it his father? I can't remember whether it's the nephew or the uncle, which Gardet it is. It's 3 volumes. Unfortunately, one of them was not translated. No, it's Henry Dominique. It's the nephew, not the uncle. So don't type in the wrong Gardale. But yeah, he has 3 volumes which are out. Cosmology, Metaphysics, Morals. Just read those. Those are much better than trying to slog through Aristotle. I know you're not going to get the logic section, but I mean you could just read Jacques Maritain, his Introduction to Philosophy, and just read the logic, or read like literally any. But logic is kind of something that's, you could just read from anybody, and you should be fine. Yeah, Kayak Seethe, cry about it. Did you see Kennedy Hall's recent video on Catholic Gen Z YouTubers? No, but I'm pretty sure not many other people saw it either. Yeah, analytics are boring. Yeah, he's boring, puts everyone to sleep. He's hard to read, boring, puts everyone to sleep. Only Bizlarpers say Aristotle isn't boring. Okay, let me try to get through the rest of these because my computer is about to die. I'm on 7%. I meant any better continuity focused against hermeneutic of rupture traditionalism websites than Archie Diacre. I don't know what that one. I don't know what that website is, and 2, I don't know any websites particularly that focus on this. Sorry, I can't think of any. Mr. Wagner, thanks for the Lahodi recommendation. I found it helpful. Sadly, my friend got rebaptized in the Pentecostal church. Please, everyone, pray for them. It's awful. Do you have some? Do you know of some good spiritual works on the virtue of hope? I don't know of any in particular. No, sorry. Plug it in? No, I'm not doing that. I need to leave soon, anyways. That's why, because I knew it wouldn't die before I needed to leave, and this would force me not to do like an extra hour. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I don't have a desktop. Cry about it. Yeah, what you got to do is you just have to read Aristotle's Wikipedia page. It's basically you're gonna get for all of you guys out there just starting your philosophy journey. If you go on wikipedia.org, actually go on the easy Wikipedia. You know how to do the easy Wikipedia thing. Go on that article on Aristotle and read through it, and you'll probably get more out of that than reading all of Aristotle's works 10 times over. Okay, just remember that. Can I understand St. Thomas without reading on the parts of animals? No, you have to read on the parts of animals, or else you're just a stupid E. Thomas LARPer. Unless you read on the parts of animals, you're a stupid E. Thomas LARPer. Unless you read on minerals, also stupid E. Thomas LARPer. What's the problem with presuppositional arguments / transcendental arguments? Why do Protestant and Orthodox prefer them? I mean, to the first one, when did I ever say there was a problem with them? I don't necessarily think there's a problem with them. The only problem with them would be saying that they ought to be used to the exclusion of any other arguments due to some sort of ideological concern with agnostic presuppositions of the lack of knowability of God from creatures, which is a reason why Kant exclusively used these. At least that's how the narrative goes in the rejection of Kantianism. That would be the only issue. Why do Protestants and Orthodox prefer them? I mean, to say with both of these groups, that would be a gross oversimplification. Really, it's only certain very niche groups within Orthodoxy and Protestantism who prefer presuppositional or transcendental arguments. Am I planning on translating John of St. Thomas's Cursus Philosophicus Domesticus? No, I'm not. Somebody from the pair sent me a meme with the Distinguo video. We're so back. What kind of fish do I have? I don't have any fish yet. Okay, I have 6% battery left, so I guess I could answer a few more. I don't have any fish yet. The wife is supposed to put fish in there. I don't know why she hasn't put fish in there. She's like, I need to cycle it for a few days before I get fish. And it's been cycling. You guys know how long it's been back there. It's been cycling for like 3 weeks. You guys can look back at the old streams and see when did this change? It was a while ago. She was like, I just have to cycle it for like a few days. So it's a woman moment, but I have no fish in there yet. I wanted a bluegill in there, but I just want like a little pet bluegill. I think that'd be pretty cool. Don't you guys think it'd be pretty cool, like a little pet bluegill? Or maybe I'll even, and this would be like break 100 laws if I did this. If I got like a little like fingerling 2-inch largemouth bass and then raised him until he was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches long and put it back in the water, just because I think they're cool. I just think that'd be a cool pet to have for a little bit. But that would be very illegal because I would have to fish for a fish and keep it far undersized and then bring it home. Okay, what do you mean? Is it possible to prove the divinity of the spirit from relative opposition? I'm not sure what you mean by this. Usually people are asking about the filioque from relative opposition. Yes, I have an empty fish tank. Weeks. It's weeks. The most prominent presuppositionalist is Greg Bonson and Jay Dyer. Yeah, when you're looking at Greg Bonson, though, it's very clear that he was departing, like by following Van Til, he was departing from his tradition. I mean, he was departing from the tradition of Reformed theology, which had used largely non-presuppositionalist arguments throughout the history of Reformed theology. In Eastern Orthodox, that's kind of like just out of left field sort of thing. I mean, yeah, I hardly find Catholics arguing it. Yeah, but if you kind of change the terms around and think a little bit more about what we're doing with some arguments, you'll see that when you look at the moral arguments, or you look at in some way the fourth way, and you'll see just bits and pieces of, oh, actually, we're doing the same thing here. Formally speaking, it's just we're using different language or different ways of expression, but we're kind of doing the same thing right here. Do you fish? Yes. I don't know what. Oh, bro, I'm banning you after that one. Oh, never mind. I read that as something different. No, I don't. Would you ever go in Philosophy for the People podcast to talk about the Trinity? Sure, I'll go anywhere to talk about the Trinity. I just like the Trinity. Is it possible for someone like Nick Fuentes to reconcile his views with his faith? I mean, Nick has a lot of views on a lot of things. Like what in particular are you talking about? That's like asking, whether it, I mean, really with insert any political figure, it's kind of a weird question to ask since they're in the temporal sphere. They're making a lot of statements on political issues, which rely very heavily on concrete circumstances. So, it's really just a strange question, unless they're out there saying like Joe Biden, like I am, pro-choice and like in principle, I support abortion or something like that. Obviously that person is going against the faith, but we have to be careful to guard against what Leo, the 14th is called. I termed it as indoctrination and ideology. which confuses the sort of practical diversity that we can have in the various different ways of establishment of Catholic social teaching, confusing that legitimate diversity with, on the other hand, the strength and fortitude that we must always keep to, and fidelity that we must always keep to in the determination of the principles of Catholic social teaching. But it's an almost impossible question that you're asking. Like, are you talking about, what he says about, the war in Iran, or what he says about immigration? Like what are you even asking about? Thoughts on the Trinity being seen and counting? 1, 2, 3. Can you believe that? There's 3 numbers. Okay, you asked this like 20 times, so I guess I will. I've seen. I just don't want to answer it. I just don't want to answer it because it is prima facie like a really bad thing. I mean, Catholic tradition is obviously held always in accordance with sacred scripture and reason, that there is that marriage is a society, and any society needs a head, and the head of that society is the husband. Outside of extraordinary circumstances, of course, the head of that society is a husband. So when you read St. John Paul II and Francis, Benedict XVI, I haven't found anything on this. It very seemingly comes across as if they deny this headship of the husband in their interpretation of Ephesians 5. So the question would be, do they mean actually to deny this headship? And then, yeah, there would be an error. And that would just be an error of the non-infallible magisterium of the popes. So perhaps, it's a simple error, or maybe, and this is a way that I've seen some people interpret it, maybe they just meant the sort of idea of collegiality. There's a certain collegiality of the husband and the wife, insofar as the husband as head should consult his wife, has a certain moral obligation of consultation. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a decision, but he should consult. In the same way as we would say about the popes and the bishops, you have to do that. So those have been the 2 ways in which they're interpreted. Really, I don't have strong feelings either way. I'm totally fine with the fact that maybe they were, just mistaken on this issue. Any recommendations on authors that reconcile the apparent tension of pre- and post-Vatican II teachings on religious liberty based on the Conciliar Magisterium? That's a really good question. Like, any authors who've just kind of went through all of the teachings from, post Dignitatis Humanae to contemporary, and employed all of that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, because most of the resources I know, what they do is they basically say, like, let's take Dignitatis Humanae as like the stopping point and interpret that in light of everything beforehand. Oh my goodness, I have 4% battery. Okay. Any works that have been translated recently on the refutation of middle knowledge? Yes, the brief refutation of middle knowledge by Father Charles René Billouart. Remember to give it 5 stars on Amazon. Wait, what? Israel just bombed Iran? Oh, wait. Okay. Give me a second. I'm gonna grab my charger. I will update all you guys. I'm gonna find all this. Okay, give me 1 second. It's gonna be a long night for me, because I will stay up all night to watch the attacks. But yeah, give me 1 second. Okay. I hope UI is watching so we can temporarily change the title of this. But yeah, I have a few Telegram groups that are really good on news, so I can pull up some videos and stuff for you guys. Yeah. Okay. I have my charger. Let's hope this works. Unfortunately, I don't have a beer. It's over. Okay, so let's look into this. I'm sorry, guys, for your super chats. From now on, I'm just not Alex. I'll answer this one lastly, and then we'll go into the Iran stuff. I'm currently discerning the Catholic priesthood, and I would really appreciate any advice, guidance, or tips on how to discern more effectively. Yes, I actually have just one, I think, very important thing. And the one very important thing, and you can email me if you want a book on this, militantthomas@gmail.com. Somebody emailed me a book that they had been reading and specifically got this advice, is remember that it isn't about some sort of extraordinary, you know, enlightenment, or like you're going to be like sitting there and thinking like, oh, should I be a priest? And it's just going to hit you like snap right in your brain one day. Like that's not how the priesthood works, like discerning the priesthood works, or discerning religious life works. Rather, it is an exercise in prudence, which discerns from one's dispositions, whether that would be fitting. Dispositions, needs, whether that would be fitting. It's not like extraordinary. It literally is from sort of external and internal means. That is the way in which you go about this. Okay. But now we're gonna move over to the Iran stuff. Unless you guys are just messing with me. Okay, let me. Oh, frick. Oh, frick. Okay. Wow, there's like 500 different messages. Let me see if I can open up my Telegram. And yeah, I think I can open up my Telegram and then kind of just boop it. Okay. Because they're bombing Tehran. Okay. I'm hoping that this works because it's sometimes weird with sharing my, like a window. Okay, here we go. Is it sharing? Yeah, it's sharing. Okay, good. Is this oh my gosh, this video is awful. Okay. Yeah, I know, it's just a Rerum Novarum Telegram group. Is this just like video absolutely awful in itself? Or is this just like my sharing speed is just absolutely awful? Yeah, they're bombing the crap out of Tehran, which doesn't really make any sense. Because I don't think there's one of their nuclear sites right there. Oh my goodness. So this started happening 17, 18 minutes ago. Let me see when it actually started. It declared, okay, explosions. Iran has likely launched ballistic missiles at Israel. Is that true as well? Yeah, I just think the videos are just not going to be able to stream well. Or maybe this is just the way in which Iranian phones are. Maybe they're just awful. Okay, Israel's closed its airspace. Oh no, this is just going to be. It's just not gonna load, is it? Because it's also storming here. Okay, Iran closed its. Oh, Ansar al. Oh, okay. So Yemen, the Yemenis have launched ballistic missiles at Israel. Okay. So wow, the response is within like 10 minutes. Ansarullah, I think those are the Yemenis ones, right? Somebody confirm it in the live chat for me. Wait, U.S. says it won't get involved. Yo, let's go. We're so back. Please, Ayatollah, please destroy the. Wait, I don't think I can say it on YouTube. Okay, but you know what I wanted to say. Always Yemen, dude. They've been shooting at our ships for months, and then they stopped. When I think there was an agreement, they stopped. But anyways, U.S. won't get involved. They're probably targeting defense systems. This is yeah. Shut up. But this is actually real though. No, they're not gonna destroy their nuclear program. It's not gonna be destroyed. Yeah, I know Tehran has been. My break was awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alex. I saw your $100 Alex. I'm not even watching Alex. I saw that. I didn't even respond to it because I was just so excited. I mean, shocked. Wagner, I am kind of tan. But where did you guys hear the thing that we're not going to be helping Israel? The US saying that it won't get involved. You got a can go. Yeah, I know. I wasn't okay. It's kind of like one of those things. I'm not excited like, oh, I'm glad, that people are bombing each other. It's just kind of like, you know what I mean. I'm not excited like that. Shut up. Okay, so Axios. I was talking to an Iranian Catholic girl. Is she a convert? Because if she is, let me know. Because she could be she could be like actually like I'm sure awesome, but also you could end up getting all of your money stolen through a scam. It happens. I've seen it happen. Dude, I'm not excited for my stream view count. It's not why. If I was not streaming right now, I would be equally as excited, but not only the aspect of, wanting to see people die or bombed or anything like that, but just because it's, it's shocking news. It's something news. It's coming up that Reuters. Okay, I'll go through the rest of the messages. Tehran just got hit with 3 more airstrikes. 15 airstrikes have hit Tehran. Israel sent a warning notification to all its citizens. Due to the preparation for a significant threat, the home front command's instructions, which are currently being distributed throughout the media, must be immediately followed. Global crude has jumped 5.2% in the last time. Oh, I was gonna invest in like a global crude ITF, like $1,000 into it earlier today, and I forgot to do it. Oh no. Okay, this I was traveling and I was like super tired because I only got 3 hours of sleep. I was going to 'cause I wanted to pull money out of my Tesla stock and put it into crude oil because I thought that there was going to be the strike on Sunday. I know I missed out on the futures. It's so over. Yeah, I'm excited to see historical events unfold. I'm not betting on Iran. I'm betting on instability, lack of stability. But if the U.S. is not getting involved, that means our troops are fine. They're not going to be bombing the crap out of our bases throughout the Middle East, which they could kill a lot of Americans, which I'm very happy about. Americans not dying. Okay, so that's very good for me. But I'll keep scrolling through all of the Rerum Novarum Telegram stuff. Which if you guys want news, I always like them. Okay, so they're targeting Tehran's air defenses. We are now preparing for days of battle. Okay, Israel is targeting. Oh, wow. The alarms that sounded across the country to wake the public up to the attack from Iran? What? What do they keep talking about an attack from Iran? Direct impact. Oy vey. Okay, Israel is preparing for an Iranian response, likely referring to True Promise 4. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Loud explosions are still being reported across Tehran. The strike hasn't ended yet. That was 6 minutes ago. Iranian jets went airborne as soon as the Israeli projectiles were launched, likely to avoid jet losses. W. I know it's so unfortunate for the Iranians because they have all those like really cool jets from the 70s that they got before the Iranian Revolution, but now they've gotten no more jets. It's like they don't have jets. Like if they had jets, they could stand a much better chance. I mean, they got like a bajillion ballistic missiles, but they don't got any jets. They can't have jets. If you're mortal enemies with the United States, very unfortunate. I mean, as unfortunate as I could hold it to be as an American. Unfortunate for them, I guess I'd say. The Khomeini airport. So they're attacking the airports. No new strikes have been reported in the last few minutes. The first round of strikes by Israel against Iran appears to be over. Okay, here it is. Reuters citing U.S. officials. So this was 4 minutes ago. U.S. is not involved in attacks on Iran and is not assisting it. Okay, good. Israel carried out its operations in a neighborhood where senior IRGC commanders reside. Oh no, are they killing all the yeah, that is kind of like an Israeli thing to do. They just kill all your leaders before they're about to attack you. So they might be, yeah, assassinating. Footage confirms our previous report. Iranian jets went airborne to avoid losses. Israel has officially named this operation Operation Strength of a Lion. Okay, I think this is going to be about to be it, but I need to get on the... No! No, some of them were assassination strikes. It's over. No. No. I'm literally vomiting, crying. It's so over. Yeah. Yeah, say a Hail Mary for everyone involved. For sure. But yeah, I should probably get off of a stream which will be talking about Iran for much longer, because I may say things that would not be appreciated. But yeah, rip Astra, rip Hassan. Hassan's gone. You were going to go to the military parade? Me too. I wonder who died. Mike Pence, just a large number of projectiles seen over Iraq. Okay, what's going on here? Number of projectiles seen over Iraq. Which way? Which way is it, from Israel to Iran or from Iran to Israel? I need to see this. I'm crashing out right now. I'm crashing out. Black pilled. I'm black pilled. I'm blackpilling. Oh no. Okay. I mean, to be honest, a lot of those people were probably really awful people, but okay. President Trump has convened an emergency cabinet meeting. Well, yeah. I mean, anybody from like 2000s, I don't know, 2003 onwards could see war with Iran is pretty obvious, but or unless you're saying he warned of it occurring as early as 2009, like that it would occur. Okay. Now we got more news in. Insane multiple assassination strikes by Israel and Tehran. No. Bruh. It's so over. Is that Astro right there on the moped? Oh my goodness. They're killing all the generals. It's okay. A lot of their generals kind of suck anyways. I mean, it's awful they died, and praying for their families and everything like that, but some of their generals did kind of suck a lot. No, Iraq. Okay, so Iraq is west of Iran. So in order to go from Israel, which is much further west than Iran, you'd have to go through Iraqi airspace. So projectiles over airspace could mean that it's going from one to the other or one to the other. That's why I was talking about Iraq. Oh no. I'm sounding like a sports comment. I'm trying not to. I mean, this is pretty bad. Okay, we got more. Isn't nepotism actually a huge problem in the Iranian military? Yeah, there's a bunch of huge problems, but yes, that is one of them. Nepotism basically means you advance those who are somehow close to you, usually talking about family members. Yeah, I mean, missiles kind of work. Missiles are awesome. Missiles, okay, they do a lot of bad stuff, but they're really cool. It's kind of cool. Anyways, let's look at this video. Large number of projectiles over Iraq. Unknown projectiles. We don't know yet, but I mean, I can't imagine that Iran is going to do what they normally do and do like the weakest possible response ever. I mean, so I don't know if they're going to do it instantaneously. It could be tonight. If you looked back and remembered the skirmishes between Pakistan and India from a few months ago, I mean, they responded on top of the hour. So, I mean, you can respond quickly if you're prepared. And apparently, over the last few days, we've seen that Iran has been preparing for things like this, doing military exercises and making other preparations, bringing in missile defense systems, etc. So if you're prepared, if you have preparations, sure, you can do like a response within the hour. But historically, the Iranian responses have been slow. I mean, within a few days, I think I remember. I don't remember the exact timeline off the top of my head, but historically, they're pretty slow in responses. What are you talking about? This is so cool. Look, missiles are kind of awesome. They're just really cool things. Dude, the Shah sucked. The Shah sucked. The Shah sucked. The Shah's son supports homosexuals. The Shah's granddaughter dresses like a prostitute. I mean, the Shah sucks. We all hate the Shah. The Shah was awful. He was like Bessie's with Jimmy Carter. He's Cole. Okay. So yeah, Shah was so based because I mean, I don't know if you're saying that or not, but I'm just giving my thoughts on the Shah. I don't like the Shah. He's fake royal too, although he had a really cool name. Okay, so let's bring this up because a lot of people don't know this. So if you look at the Shah's royal title, I can't pronounce this because I failed. I failed my Farsi. Okay, I'm trying to pull up the exact title. Okay, so his title specifically, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it because it's going to be awful. His title specifically means light of the Aryans. So I'll send you guys if you're really interested the Wikipedia article in the live chat. But yeah, the secondary Ariyamer, something like that. I should get Asher to pronounce it for us. But it means light of the Aryans. It's a very cool name. So now that the Shah is deposed, that means that we could just call somebody else the light of the Aryans. It's a pretty cool title. I know it's a pretty cool title. They come up with cool titles. So that's the one thing I will give the Shah is he had a really cool title. But beside all that, Shah sucked. He was awful. Yeah, I know Israeli foreign policy is cold. I know this war is cold. The war sucks. Israeli foreign policy is awful. I agree. The only way in which, the only sensible way would be to provide some sort of balance within the Middle East, rather than deposing powerful Islamic country after powerful Islamic country until Israel is the only power left to do as they will. But missile mortars are way cooler than missiles. That's fake. Okay. Oh, okay. We have more. Oh, yo, no. Israeli Channel 12 reports that the strikes in Iran were carried out in coordination with the United States. Sneaky. Israel carried out its operations in a neighborhood where senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps officers resided. Israeli jets did not enter Tehran's airspace. The projectiles were launched from western Iran along the Iran-Iraq border. Initial reports, the chief of staff of the Islamic Republic of Iran Armed Forces was assassinated tonight in Tehran. No! Okay, who is this? Let me see who. I don't know off the top of my head who this guy is. Okay, that guy, Mohammed Bagheri. Maybe it's that guy. Did he die? Okay, let me look at his. It doesn't say he died yet on his Wikipedia. Oh my goodness. Might be that guy. Okay, top Iranian political and military officials. The prime minister and the minister of defense are leading the operation from the special operations headquarters together with the cabinet. We are going for a weeks-long campaign. Oh, no. Weeks long. It's so over. It's so over. Full on war. This is not like, it seems like this is not like the other strikes that we had before, which were very limited in scope and was kind of like a back and forth sort of thing. It looks like this is actually going to be a full out, war. Like this is a war now. Breaking. It's just a matter. It's a question of, is there actually going to be U.S. Is there going to be the sort of aid that the U.S. gives to like Ukraine, which is a great degree of aid, but we're not exactly putting people in danger's way, anything like that. Is there just going to be a sort of material aid and weapon systems and the people to run those weapon systems, etc.? Or is it going to be a little bit more than that? Okay, so the Iran's chief of staff, so it's this guy, Mohammed Bakri. Okay, let me see who this guy is. Oh, yeah, it's the guy that I brought up earlier. So, Bakri. I guess I just spelled it differently. Okay, so it's interesting. He supplied Russia with drones. It's kind of funny. Okay, I'll keep going down. Oh, bro. Aftermath of an Israeli assassination strike. The fire's awful. Housing complex for IRGC operators was hit by an Israeli strike. Okay, and then they may have geolocated a photo confirming the direct impact on the I cannot pronounce that one airport in Iran. Okay, are you guys seeing anything that I'm not getting? Oh yeah, I mean, I explained this when I was in the stream with Pine Sap. Like, in order to be a groiper, it's not just like you hold to like XYZ position. Like there's a little bit more. There's like a particular flavor of political action and unique allegiance to Nick. I was talking with Pine Sap about this. Is like it would, I like a lot that Nick has to say, things like that. But I don't have like a unique special allegiance to him or anything like that, like somebody like Pine Sap or classical theist would have. So, yeah, I wouldn't call myself a groiper. Okay, they changed it. He's dead. Okay, Israeli channels speculate that Iran will launch ballistic missiles at Israel within the hour. Airstrikes against Ansarullah in Yemen. Over. All the people saying we are not going to go after Iran is just dumb. We will be forced to defend Israel and will be dragged into. I know. Don't make me black pill. Don't make me black pill. I know. We're gonna get dragged into a war, but can I just pretend like we won't get dragged into a war though? But yeah, Rare Navarum, I think they have good things. Okay, so there's actually just a photo of it. Yeah, maybe all the thunder and lightning that I'm hearing outside of my door is an assassination strike against me right now. Maybe Israel is launching an assassination strike. Okay, so Israel's military campaign against Iran will continue for weeks, according to Israel Channel 14. No. I'm black-pilled right now. No. Ah. My family group chat, they're talking about this too. Oh, no. Iran has declared a nationwide state of emergency. Ayatollah. don't let everyone gloat about Israel, because like literally the mythos amongst a lot of the American evangelicals is like Israel is like their bombs are like guided by the hand of God, and like they're protected from any sort of possible destruction. But Iran is from the strikes that we've seen is pretty good about unlike Israel, it's pretty good about not hitting civilian targets and just killing random civilians when they feel like it. So, I don't feel too bad about being positive towards a restrike against Israel, because Lord willing, it will not be a strike which will kill civilians and maim many and lead to the death of innocents. So it would be just if there's a proportionate response to this. Bro, why are their top guys just sitting in their apartments after the past years? I know. It's like Israel, their expertise is assassinating military leaders. Like that's what they do. They assassinated we know about their assassinating the Iranian nuclear scientists. They assassinate like the entire like all of the leadership of Hezbollah and Hamas. That's their thing. When they start a war, they assassinate them. They knew that a war was starting, and they were just like, yeah, let me go home and get some shawarma from the old lady. Like, is that what you were doing right before you knew they were going to strike? You didn't think they were going to start killing your leaders, dude. Why do they have to be so incompetent? This is awful. Okay, missiles launched from Iran. Okay. Now I'm texting my family group chat and be like, see guys, missiles launched from Iran. Okay, I have to make sure it's confirmed. Breaking, Iran has launched missiles against Israel. Yeah, I gotta text a family group chat. Yeah, we'll see. I want to make something snarky like, yeah, missiles launched from Iran. This time they won't kill any random civilians. At least civilians in one country won't randomly get blown up while they're eating dinner tonight, sleeping in their beds. Yeah, guess which country? We'll see. Maybe they'll just like go full like sicko mode and just start killing a bunch of civilians. That would be horrible. Obviously, do not condone that. Anyways, that is not just war. That's not how war ought to occur. In these circumstances, it is obviously permissible for them to have proportionate responses against Israel, because this isn't like a one-off strike. They need to defend their nation from weeks of strikes that they're going to be, or weeks of attacks they're going to receive from Israel. So I have no problem being positive about this. This is not funny. I don't think it's funny either. I mean the part about them hanging out in their house like after they knew that was a little bit that was a little bit funny. That was kind of funny. Wagner let me in. They sit in their apartments. Yeah, okay. I'll let Hassan in. Hassan will probably stop me from saying a bunch of schizo stuff, which that I want to say schizo stuff right now. You just know right now that I want to crash out. Okay, let me add Hassan in. Hassan called me like a billion times. Okay, there's the link, Hassan. Gosh. Bro, I'm not going to make this stream radioactive, I promise. Explosions in Baghdad. Whoa, what? Huh. They're bombing Baghdad? Air raid alerts have begun sounding across to Israel. No red alerts have started as of now. Iraq has closed. Yeah, Iraq has closed its airspace. Iraq has closed its airspace. Now let them enforce it. Real. Hassan, how are you doing? I can't hear you. Do I have you muted? Can you guys hear him? It's over. Nope, can't hear you. Well, okay. Yeah, I don't think they can. No, they can't hear you either. So you just keep leaving, joining, turn your mic on, switching your mic, whatever. Mossad took out his audio. In my opinion, there's absolutely no strategic reason to go out all this to Iran. They are far weaker than Fox News wants you to think. Yeah, I mean, I would be pretty certain that on the basis of conventional warfare, without the use of unconventional warfare, i.e., like literally nukes, I think that Israel would get their butts kicked from my very lay understanding of this, and I've been reading a bit of this. They would get their butts kicked in a war with Iran. Like even the U.S., it would be a long, drawn out, and bloody occasion to fight against Iran. Yeah, it's just the only thing that makes sense here is they're just baiting the U.S. into helping them because Americans would rather like destroy our entire world empire than let Israel lose a war. For some reason. But Hassan, you're back on. Let's see if your audio is.
Is the audio working?
This audio works, but it's awful.
Oh, really?
Devotio Moderna. I don't know. This is not a Q&A anymore. Sorry, I need to change the title. Okay, let me change the title on this so people stop confusedly asking questions. Okay. Israel nuking Iran plus Q&A. Theology questions. There you go. I changed the title. Hassan is way too loud. Yeah, you're twice as loud, and it sounds awful. Yeah, the geography of Iran makes taking that country near impossible. Yeah, I mean that's the sort of thing that, and it has such an because you guys need to understand is that when you place a country under blockade for like decades, like sure the economy like stagnates, like the economy cannot go past a certain level, but it's so insulated, like it's an insular economy, like it's almost completely self-reliant. Like it doesn't need any other country when you've been running your own economy since the 70s under extreme primary and even secondary sanctions. So it's an insulated economy. Like as an example, they have more engineers than the U.S. has engineers. Why? Because they can only use their own engineers, basically. So they need to have a much more self-sufficient economy. And it's huge. The geography makes it very hard to like have a foot invasion, things like this. But it's definitely not like the way in which you hear American boomers talk about it. It's like, oh, it'll just be like Iraq, we'll just sweep through and we'll beat them. It's going to be just awful, bloody, disgusting. Okay, our Navy and air power would have the war over in a week. Ayatollah. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I just think that's delusional. So Hassan, how are you?
Awful.
You're awful?
Yeah, this is very sad.
Yep.
A lot of people are going to die.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, interceptions likely against Iranian missiles. Iranian fighter jets out of Hamdan, western Iraq, have lifted off.
Why is all the lights?
Violent explosions, Iraq, Tehran again. More scenes. Some more awful videos. Can you guys actually see the videos? No, it doesn't share them. Okay, so only I can see them. Unconfirmed reports, explosions heard at Ain al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq. The IDF has reportedly detected the launch of multiple missiles from Iran. This was 1 minute ago. Okay, Marco Rubio. Okay, statement from the U.S. Tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel.
Notice, notice that they carefully said that we're not, that we will, they carefully said, oh, we're protecting U.S. interests. They never said we're protecting Israel. Before, they just would have said that.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Reports of airstrikes in Natanz, Iran. Oh, isn't that one of the places where there's a nuclear site? Natanz?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of that place before.
I'm actually worried about Astro now, bro. It's actually dangerous.
Okay, I mean, don't like location docs, but yeah, they're going to be striking.
I'm not going to. I'm not location doxing. What I mean is that a lot of people around that age have to serve in the Iranian military, and this is the worst time for his tour of duty to start.
I don't want to do the I'm a veteran flex, but I mean, who cares? Who cares? I mean, I've met veterans who would probably like scale retarded on an IQ test. It doesn't mean you're a genius in anything. Like, it doesn't mean that you just like know exactly how any single thing is going to turn out. There's geopolitical experts. I mean, I'm not a geopolitical expert. I don't have any special or unique knowledge about this, but I mean, that doesn't really like matter. Like, why are you bringing this up when you're arguing against Ignatius?
Pray for all of the converts in the country, because life is about to become a lot harder for them, and all of the ones who are about to try and escape the country to get away from violent relatives or communities are now not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, our own military intelligence, our own like war games that have been done, like the like theoretical setup matchups, war games that have been done, have said like obviously the U.S. would win, but it's long, bloody, drawn out. It's not going to be done in a week. Like, that's just retarded. That's a retarded idea. It's going to kill a lot of people, and what I'm worried about is going to kill a lot of Americans. So this weird chauvinistic idea that we're just going to go in and like kill a bunch of like brown monkeys and then get out of there. Like, one, that's abhorrent, and two, that's retarded.
This one of the issues is that Iran's not just like a country. They've been more and more isolated over time, but they do have an axis of militias and so on. And if they are aggravated enough, if their zeal is aggravated enough, those militias will go and try to kill U.S. and like U.S. soldiers, but also destroy U.S. assets. It will just be a disaster. Worst thing that can happen right now. I wonder what the Holy Father will say.
Well, I'm sure whatever the Holy Father will say, Israel won't care. Targeting power plants, U.S. interception.
They only care when we talk about Galatians.
True.
Yeah.
Should Pope Leo respond? Yeah, he always responds with stuff like this.
Of course he will. The popes haven't failed to respond to a crisis like this for 70 years. So I hope the situation doesn't get worse for our convert friends in the West Bank and Gaza.
I know. Finally, ethnic cleanse another area.
This stuff is a lot harder when this pops off and you think of like people with names that you know in the danger zones. People you've spoken to. about Christ and about getting baptism to them.
Okay, so Minister Netanyahu has confirmed strike against Nan's nuclear facility. Shin Bet has escorted all Israeli officials into hiding. Huh. Yep. That's what's going on right now.
This is crazy.
Iranian missiles airborne. Yeah, I saw that, like, dozens of Israeli jets in the air. Oh, no. Iranian missiles airborne. Yeah, I saw that like 10, 15 minutes ago. I haven't seen any. All the things I've been seeing have been the explosions in Baghdad. So they were
No.
intercepted by America.
Oh, no.
We just lied. We just big time lied about not being involved at all.
We're gonna have people we know on both sides of the conflict in terms of the military as well, because we have convicts who are about to have to join the ADF.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Have you made any videos on just war theory? No. It actually pains me to think about the hurt it causes the Holy Father to hear this news. True.
Our Lady of Fatima told Sister Lucia the Holy Father would have much to grieve.
Thoughts
In
on
the third
Cardinal
secret.
Ottaviani's arguments for the current impossibility of just war given modern developments in warfare? I think it's kind of impossible to say that there could be no possible instance of a just war. Because
That's crazy.
from the fact that you would have to have like at least some sort of form of defensive wars when attacked. Like it would be manifestly unjust not to defend one's homeland when attacked. So I mean, certain methods, sure, like nuclear weapons are always unjust, or like tear gas, like mustard gas or something.
You guys know that there's contemporary textbooks of Catholic military ethics, right? Like it's not a dead area.
Israel's second
You
wave
can
of
just
strikes against
ask
Iran.
ChatGPT. Israel's doing what?
Second wave of strikes have ended. Dozens of Israeli jets are in the air. So just assassination strikes and then strikes against the power plants. Okay, let's see what Nick has said. Okay, so he's going live within an hour for live coverage. Okay, so that'll be at 9:30 within an hour. So, I mean, once Nick goes live, I'll just kind of go off because he knows a lot more about these geopolitical matters than I do. I'll just watch what he says. There's no sense in me sticking around live after that happens. Did you hear about the rising Christian population in Iran? Yeah, of course. There's like actually it's kind of weird. It's actually like a huge problem in Iran with like sedevacantists and like Uber.
Yes,
Like Uber
loads of
traffic.
sedés, and tons and tons and tons of Zionist evangelicals. I saw a sermon with English subtitles. The guy was speaking in Farsi, and he was commentating on the psalm, like that we should worship at God's footstool. And he said, and that footstool is the state of Israel. And he was saying that like Christians need to literally worship the Zionist entity.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
awful. Yeah,
bro,
I mean that's basically how it is in all these countries. You remember when we were in North Africa and you talk to
I told you about the plots.
They would think we're like pro-Zionist, like pro-gay, pro-divorce.
Oh, the guy in the taxi.
Yeah. They think all that stuff about Christians. Then you meet them and you just like have the like literally moderate, conservative opinions that like my grandpa has, and he thinks like, oh wow, this is awesome. I thought Christians were the opposite. Yeah. Like, oh, dude. Oh man, it's just like
the crazy
so cursed from the
And they can't the reason that they can't take Christianity seriously because the worst people in the world are doing quote unquote missionary work, which is actually just exploiting locals for money.
Oh yeah, that hearing those
Yeah.
stories is just disgusting as well.
Yeah.
Like taking advantage of a bunch of people. Syria has closed its airspace. Okay. Federal judge orders President Trump to return control of California National Guard to Governor Newsom. Can't Governor Newsom start like a civil war or something so we don't have to fight Israel?
Okay.
Like what?
Okay.
That was a
Okay.
joke.
Okay.
That was a
Okay.
joke.
Okay.
That was a joke. Please, please, no. FBI, please. I meant that as a joke. Okay. That was a joke. Oh man. Where bro, I live in California. Then just move out. Just move out.
Yeah, people indult against California. Every Catholic has to leave the state.
So true. California under interdict.
Yeah.
Do not go outside except for essential and urgent needs. Stay near protected area. IDF Home Front Command. Confirmed Israeli strikes against Iran nuclear facilities of all types. I'm not reading all the names of the cities. That's
Yeah,
all four.
invitation,
There's
not
four
propagation.
locations.
He's flew Zachariah here between the altar.
Dude, there's this could be the like we could actually see the use of nuclear weapons in this war, like the most realistic since Korea. This is crazy. Isfahan, yeah, Isfahan. Hassan's eyebrows look like Israel bombed them.
Yeah, I have weak eyebrows. Somebody says, I think you told me you were skeptical of the Muslims that were seeing the Blessed Virgin in your dreams a while ago. Are your thoughts more or less the same? No, because I've met them and I think it's real now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know. Trump is acting within the bounds of his authority to protect federal property. The federalization of the guard is legit and libs can cry more. Yeah, I know. Like if you wanted a guard which is not able to be federalized, just by law, just have a state guard. Like you can literally make a state guard. And California actually has one of the biggest state guards, which is still only like 1,000 people. But if you should have expanded the state guard if you wanted something that the feds couldn't use. Cry about it. Evangelicals in China. I don't know this. Wagner not commit treason.
Yeah, they're the same. It's the same in China as in the Middle East.
Explosions reported in Avaz, Western Iran. Multiple oil industries are. Oh no, they're bombing the oil fields. No, Saddam.
Ahvaz.
No.
Ahvaz is actually the part with all the Arabs in it. It's called Arabistan sometimes.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's fine.
It's the Arab part of Iran. Although they don't really speak Ahwazi Arabic there anymore. But in any case, that's the part that Saddam attacked and tried to conquer at the beginning of the 8-Year War. Because he wanted to like unify all the Arab lands.
Oh well, he failed.
He did.
Okay,
They
MiG-29.
kicked him out.
MiG-29's taking off from Tehran airbase earlier.
What do they think they're gonna accomplish at this point?
They're gonna accomplish like a bunch of pissed off Aryans, I guess. Like I don't know.
They're gonna go and like poop out a little bomb on like a gay commune in Tel Aviv or something, and people are gonna cry, and then the Israelis are gonna be like, "Yeah, we don't care."
Yeah, but I mean, they also have what you have to remember is like the system of proxies kind of makes it. I mean, obviously, due to the attacks on Hamas and Hezbollah, a lot of their proxies have been weakened. But either way, the system of proxies does kind of make it scary. It makes it a lot more decentralized and like a sort of multi-front engagement. But yeah, it's Just awful, absolutely awful. Did you hear about the big security leak that happened?
No.
Yeah, massive security leak that happened of Mossad documentation over to the hands of Iran. This happened like within the last, like, actually, it seemingly happened right before all of this escalation turned up. So I don't know what they found. Iran refused to say what they found, but yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything else or what. You can't say that. uh, yeah, rip. Like if they kill JFK, they'll kill anyone.
Are we witnessing the war prophecy from the Bible of the nations that will go against Israel? Yeah, because all the nations already went against the church.
True. All the nations going get. Oh crap! I missed a whole bunch. A third round of strikes has begun in Iran. Multiple explosions reported at Iranian nuclear facilities, and this is 2 minutes ago. A major wave of Israeli airstrikes are now attacking multiple nuclear sites and energy facilities. Explosions heard in Hamadan, Lorston. Oh, okay. Oh, these are all places.
Loristan.
Loristan.
Yeah.
Lore, bro. Entering a
Yeah,
Loristan. I'm telling you know.
they're a race. It's crazy. They're a race of people called the Lors.
The Loris.
Yeah.
Loris.
Loris.
The
Yeah.
Loris. Mm. Okay, so 3 residential buildings were demolished in the neighborhood in Tehran where senior military officials live. Okay, so they just destroyed a bunch of buildings for fun. Another squadron of Israeli jets have entered Iraqi airspace. Bro, why don't they just shoot them down? Didn't you think about this? This is how they do it. Is it really that? I don't know. I'm not an expert, but is it really that hard to shoot down a jet? I mean, I guess we don't have other jets. It kind of is super hard. Greta caused this. I know. I'm rage baiting super hard right now. Iraqi Kurdistan explosions in Iraqi Kurdistan.
Wait, well, why would they do that?
All
Those are
the
the friends of the
neocons
Jews.
are like, no, the Kurds, no, the Kurds.
Yeah, but the Iraqi Kurds are allies of the Jews, so I don't really understand this.
I know. They're like, oh no, the Kurds. They're turning on the Kurds, or maybe they're like, no, it's the Iranians who are killing all the Kurds as payback before they get destroyed
Maybe
by overwhelming Israel.
maybe the Kurds will finally wake up and realize the Jews aren't their friends.
Nah, they're Kurds. Kurds are like brutal. They're like the Chechens of the Middle East.
Everybody, yeah, they're worse actually. Everybody thinks,
and I don't feel bad about them getting airstriked.
Okay, there's a lot of normal people as well.
Well, if it's an Iranian airstrike, then it's not going to kill civilians. If it's an Israeli airstrike, then
true.
Unfortunately,
it probably is Israeli, but like the memes about all the Indians being fanatical Israel supporters.
Yeah,
the Kurds are like that. No one talks about it, but the Kurds are like even cringier about it.
So over Turkey,
you feel like Wagner's understanding is from Call of Duty?
Yeah, this is real.
Yeah, real. He understands military things based upon Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. So true.
This is real.
What did you learn about Iran from Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies?
Nothing. There's nothing in it on there, unfortunately. Okay, air defense systems have been deployed to protect approximately 40,000 U.S. troops deployed at 12 bases in the region, New York Times. So an unnamed senior U.S. defense official. Emergency teams are out in Tehran. Took them long enough.
They've been out. It just wasn't reported.
Oh, I was about to say it's been like half an hour.
Dang, I wonder how many of the top guys they killed.
That is true. Black Ops 2 does happen in 2025. They better not have killed the Ayatollah. They better not have killed the Ayatollah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
That would be terrible. Our greatest ally.
Proof Wagner had nowhere to go. He just hates our questions. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I probably would have just stuck on Telegram and refreshed it every 3 seconds to find the newest report from Rem Navarum anyways.
Why do we have soldiers there, says XRA. Look at the map of the US military bases in the Middle East. It's like an encirclement of Iran. It's not really anything but that.
Yeah. Oh, do you have Father Mike Schmitz as your profile picture? That's W. Redeemed Gooner.
Cool. Very cool.
Awesome. I'm glad you're a redeemed Gooner. Okay. Not going live. This was 41 minutes ago. Yeah, I'll be going live within an hour. I'll be going live like in 7 hours from now. But I have no room to talk because I'm always late.
Sure.
Okay. I wonder if there's anything on Twitter since we've exhausted all these updates.
Go check Hellsite candidate number 2. What are they saying?
The kayak tweet rip Tomistique.
You guys have any special insights on Khamenei? Nothing we can say in public.
Dude, Iran military Twitter said tweets. Remember, we didn't initiate it.
Yeah, okay. More tough words. Do something for once, Iran.
Okay.
Do something for once.
Let's just chill.
They attacked Lebanon. They attacked Gaza. They can attack literally everything. The red line, Iran's red line in the sand, will always move closer to home.
Yeah. It is interesting to see. St. Thomas talks about war in defense of co-religionists. St. Thomas specifically talks about that not only war in defense of one's countrymen, but also their co-religionists. Okay, breaking 4th waves of major airstrikes against Iran. Hamdan.
Oh man.
Okay.
I hope the death polls that come out of this aren't in like if they come out and it's like really bad for the IRGC, Iran is finished pretty much.
What will the Middle East even look like without Iran and her proxies? Everywhere is basically going to be like Iran.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Everything is just going to be like split into ethnic microstates and ideological microstates. And Israel will be the nexus. Will be the nexus of all of it.
I mean, that was a pretty good plan on their part, I guess. Just get the most powerful nation in the world to depose and murder and slaughter, depose leaders and murder and slaughter and destabilize a bunch of countries and balkanize the entire region so you don't have anybody who doesn't like you. Assassination in Iran are a fundamental component of the first strike.
Bro was talking about Shah restoration in 2025. Can you grow up?
Shah restoration. Well, at least Iran will have gay marriage based. W. Oh man, I love the Shah. He's super cool. Light of the Aryans, am I right?
Bro, it's just like, wow, but can we be monarchists? But like for Iran, bro, they're not even real Iranian monarchs. They're monkeys from Mazandaran. They're not even Persians.
Yeah, the Natanz reactor.
The Shah's family are literally from a rainforest. You know that, right? They're literally jungle people.
Jungle monkeys.
Yeah.
Natanz nuclear enrichment faculty in Iran just bombed. I mean, aren't they like a crazy amount underground, like hundreds of meters underground. Dude, I know a lot of Iranian monarchists are pro-Israel. I know they're a bunch of losers. I hate them. I don't
They're
hate
terrible.
them. I don't hate
Terrible.
them. I just highly dislike all of their positions, and I think they're very stupid.
Also, all the Christians in Iran who are pro-Shah are either like glow-in-the-darks or useful idiots for the glow-in-the-darks. Any converts who might be watching this, stay the hell away from those people. They'll get you in trouble.
And all praise is due to God, the breaker of the tyrants and the humiliator of the oppressors.
Imagine an Orthodox Iran. No, because the closer you are to the truth, the more in danger you are if you're still wrong.
Okay, what is the avoiding Babylon thread right now? Oh, is he going live? Oh, are they going? Are they having a live stream?
What is Shah? Shah means king. There used to be a king in Iran before the Iranian Islamic Republic was created. Bro, I challenge you to debate me. Goldman.
Goldman?
N-A-K.
Okay. I think I know what side.
Goldman? What do you mean by
I felt kind of
by
bad
this?
because I was
Goldman.
trolling somebody earlier, and he wrote a book, and the person who like reviewed the book, his last name was Goldstein. I was trolling him. I was like, haha, your book got reviewed by Goldstein. Like, well. And the guy whose last name was Goldstein, he like DM'd me, and he's like, oh, like I've actually like watched a few of your videos, and I like your videos. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry for trolling. I shouldn't have trolled. I apologize. I'm not Iranian. Yeah, look at this. Look at this man. He's obviously not Iranian.
No.
Pro Shah. Yeah, there's a descendant of the Shah.
He's worse than the Shah, by the way.
Anyone talking about an Orthodox Iran, please consult my previous super chat.
What was his previous super chat? Yeah,
this one.
See these live asset. Okay, interesting. He's a faggot and reprobate. Interesting.
Israel for that.
Iran will become Christianized, and I will set my throne in Elam, and I will destroy from thence the king and the princess, saith the Lord. True.
You're dude. He thinks Hassan's Muslim. It's over.
I think he's talking to the Goldman guy.
Oh, is the Goldman? But this Goldman guy definitely does not look Muslim. Oh, maybe.
Bro thinks he control me and provoke me into spamming. Provoque. Interesting. Yo, you so smart, Goldman. Can Pope Leo XIV convert Iran to Catholicism? Yeah, we need to consecrate Iran and Israel to the Immaculate Heart of Mary.
Okay, so alongside extensive strikes by the Israeli Air Force, the Mossad led a series of covert counterterrorism operations deep inside Iran. These operations were designed to damage Iran's strategic missile array and air defense capabilities. Oh, so there's like a bunch of counterterrorism stuff that we don't know about. Interesting. Iranian outlets confirm Israeli airstrikes against 2 Iranian nuclear sites. Israeli jet performs launching maneuvers over Baghdad. Wall Street Journal reports that President Trump will not be speaking to the press tonight. Iranian outlets are starting to acknowledge several other nuclear and energy facilities were struck by Israel. Oh, bro.
You know, when you say something like Tawheed makes the most sense, I agree. I think that there is a Tawheed when you believe that God is your final end, and a Tawheed when you believe that milk and honey and rivers and women's genitals are your final end.
You've made your belly your God.
You've made your belly your God. Yeah. St. Paul was blushing with modesty. He didn't want to say what these people actually have as their god.
Israeli outlets are claiming that Israel has eliminated the entire Iranian security apparatus in tonight's strikes. CNN has reported the same. Oh no! Did they actually just like?
Next live, by the way.
Oh, but is he like actually like talking live, or is he like his
Is
introduction?
he actually up? Because as soon as he starts his actual thing, we'll go. We can just go watch it.
Because I know his like preview thing lasts forever.
Who cares about Nick? Honestly, I don't. I've drifted away from Nick as he's moved on and changed his messaging and so on. But when he does geopolitics stuff, I think he's probably one of the better American geopolitics commentators, unironically.
Tell me, see. Oh, he is talking.
Okay, now it's time. Now it's time to ban Goldman.
Okay.
Bro
Monkey.
thinks Judaism is real.
I'm not. Bro thinks I'm for. Oh, like yeah, I'm real. I'm for the Zionist entity. Like my face when the Zionist guy. I'm so proud of.
Wait, who said something pro-Zionist? Who said something pro-Zionist? Where? Who accused you of being pro-Zionist?
Oh, I thought you said that one guy did.
Oh no, he was saying gross things about the Trinity.
Oh.
He showed like a clear complete lack of familiarity with any
Anyways,
of the
beside
content.
all of that, Nick is live right now, so I'm just going to go over and watch what he has to
Let's
say.
go.
To give updated, another wave of Israeli airstrikes is the fifth wave. Some reports the entire defensive whatever is destroyed. We're blackpilling. We're blackpilling right now. Yeah, I think it's game over. The Jews win. Anyways,
Pray.
as always.
Okay, guys, pray for Iran. Pray for the Jews, and don't forget to fast for the Apostles' fast for the war and for the Holy Father.
Absolutely. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, as long as I don't get a strategic airstrike against me. But I will, covering Joe Heschmeyer's thing. Well, I will talk to you later. As always, God bless.